Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. This is part 2 for the all-in-one desktop tank build. And as you remember, this is where we left off. I had yet to glue together the high humidity cap for it. And the reason for that is I don't know at the point when I was building this what type of filter I was going to use, where the air lines are going to go, any of that sort of stuff. So it's best to leave that closer to the end. Now, I don't normally do this. What I've done here, this is a piece of acrylic. It's going to be turned into the underglow filter for this. I don't normally mark them out, but I wanted to show you how a simple change can, vary how much offcut I get. So where my thumb is there now, to the left, is all offcut, minus a bit of saw blade. But with a small change in dimensions, I get a filter that's slightly bigger. And now once you take away, from there to the left is offcut, but once you take off the saw blade thickness, I end up with very little in the way of pieces that may or may not have a use later on. And that's something I'm trying to keep a mind of, especially after COVID, with the inability to get things that I want when I want. So, it's just something that, like I said, I'm just trying to be aware of. Now, the other thing you'll notice now is I am not... this is going to be the surface planter area, and it's not going to be a box. It's going to be circular, and it's also going to sit not in the back of the aquarium. It's going to sit right in the very middle, and everything's going to grow up out of this and hopefully hang down into the tank itself. And I think it's going to look really cool, and also something I haven't tried before, so it was definitely something I wanted to give a go for. So I don't normally mark them off like this, but again, I wanted to give you guys a visual for it. This is obviously going to get cut down. Now, when I originally started thinking about this, I had two ways of going, and that was to make this inserted up inside, like the piece of wood I have there as my brace, or I could have it as a bottom cap. Now, I decided to go with the bottom cap, primarily because if I do that, I don't have to drill a center hole, and I could obviously cover that with a piece of acrylic, and then once it's filled with gravel and plants, you'll never notice it. But it's one of those things, like, I'll know it's there, and so I decided to go this way instead. And the other thing is, it doesn't really make that much of a difference because I will be turning this on the lathe, so the finish will be really quite nice anyway. It just unfortunately puts an awful lot more pressure on the joint to do it this way. And so it's the kind of thing that's going to have two impacts here. First off, this video isn't going to get finished today because I have to let this cure at least 24 hours. Make sure that the joint is as solid as possible, the weld I'm making. Now, I am making it a little easier, obviously, by what I've done here is I've run it through the milling machine, drilled the two holes, and then I put it through the table saw and cut off as much excess I can without getting too close to that line of material. So when I put it in the lathe eventually, well, tomorrow, or actually it'll be Wednesday, so probably the day that this video goes up, it'll have the greatest chance of not, shattering. And that is obviously important because I would waste a bunch of acrylic and I'd have to do it all over again. Now, I'm leaving this part on because the neat thing about when you run acrylic through the lathe is it makes the edge transparent enough that when I actually do the glue up, you'll be able to see it as the glue seeps underneath on the bottom as it passes through, so I can actually see how the glue joint goes as it goes along. You'll see it here. And there you go. I can see if there's any gaps and all that sort of stuff. And anyway, it just gives me a better visual of what's going on. So I'm going to go back to high speed here. Now, you'll notice that the entire time I've been doing this, I've left that piece of wood. Now, I machined that a while back for another build, and I use it because when I clamp this in to the lathe, the large diameter piping, it's just way too flexible, and I can't get enough of a grip on it to make sure that I have like a solid hold and it will, it usually ends up just either flipping out, or I can also crack the acrylic. And I don't, this particular, like this 6-inch acrylic tube, I have very little of it left, and I don't really want to go buying any more. And also, even though I don't need this in right now as far as setting up goes, I put it in because, as I've said so many times, acrylic tubing, extruded especially, it's not round. And what I'm doing here now is I'm holding it round while the glue up happens. Because if I do this the other way around, like I do the glue up and then I force it in around, I'll be putting an extra bit of strain on that joint. It's just excess, and I want to give this every chance of actually being able to turn down without any cracking. So that's all set. That just needs to cure for 24 hours, and then I can pop it in the lathe and well, take care of that. Now, this is just the undergravel filter, and the only reason why I'm putting this footage on here is to show you what I've gone back to using methylene chloride. I've stopped using Weldon, and it's just a simple amount of time it takes to glue up this, and well, you'll see. It's much faster, and I said, like it's almost about 3 times faster to do a proper glue up with Weldon. So it's just not worth it. Now, I don't have to be careful about this, so I'm actually going to be not really speed gluing this, but doing it a lot faster than I would normally do it, because a couple bubbles don't matter. This is going to be sitting on the bottom of the tank. It's going to be filled with gravel, and all the other undergravel filters you've seen so far that I've done, they have actually been sitting in bare bottom tanks. This won't be. This is actually going to be in a fully decorated aquarium, and it is going to be buried. This is what my original intent was for this, for clients, to have an undergravel filter in a section so that you can you have the filter part of it, and then it won't, you won't see it. It's buried under gravel. And then if I need to do any sort of decorative stuff with the other parts of the aquarium, move plants or whatever, I don't disturb the filtration system. And originally when I decided to do this, I was thinking that I would end up having to clean these. But we're going on 2 years now, and I still haven't cleaned the original one, so I'm not sure that's going to be an issue. And every 2 years is not a big deal regardless. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. So that's as quick as that takes. Obviously some of that was sped up, and I didn't bother being careful with the gluing, but it's much faster than the other one. So this is going to sit above this. There's going to be 2 stacks, mostly because I kind of like that style now. And it's going to be roughly in this position. Well, roughly, hold them here. Imagine my right hand is the bottom of the tank, and this will reach up to the surface where my left hand is, and I think it's going to look really cool, especially when it's all set up. So I couldn't take this apart, obviously, to like do a circle to measure this, so I just measured them and then marked it out and drilled the holes. I didn't have to be precise, but I wanted to get as close as possible, just not to have any bends, so it doesn't look, perpendicular. It is a little bit off, but it's more than good enough for this. So what I've done here now is I've gotten the rest of the pieces done as far as I can before I turn that down. I did the drill and flip method for putting all these holes in. It's faster, but the pattern's not as good as if I put it on the mill bed, but again, it's faster this way. So, and the other thing I want to show you, I mean, this is kind of silly, I suppose, but these are just pieces that cut off a full sheet. It wasn't full, an offcut, and I can make these little 1/4-inch pieces with ease with the saw sled, and actually that's one thing I'm really happy about. So we're getting really close. I'm just going to show you how this is all going to fit together. And as always, if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. And definitely leave comments as to what you think is going on here. And you'll notice that I have passed 12K, and I did promise a giveaway. And that is going to be on this video. And as I said before, I don't really want to do giveaways and say, hey, this is a giveaway, and have everybody and have 300 comments. So I'm just doing this for those people who really like watching what I do and have well, pretty much just followed all the way through to the end, which is really very admirable of you, trust me. And so what I want to do is, I don't want you to say, hey, I want to be signed up for the giveaway. Just say desktop tank in your comment, and then I'll know you're interested in the build and interested in getting something that I'm going to build for you. Now, I had said that I was thinking about using this as a giveaway, but unfortunately, financial situations the way they are, I can't really afford to give this as a giveaway. It will have to be something smaller, because to mail this at least $50 plus, so and then when you throw in the cost of acrylic and everything else, it's over $100, and I just simply, unfortunately, with more than half of my clients still closed, can't afford to do that right now. So, but we'll decide together, whoever wins this, a good project, something interesting that you want, and we'll do that as a giveaway. So thanks again for watching. I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.